One person can take growth hormone and be fine. Another can blindly use it to fast-track cancer. And the biggest marker tilting that race is something clinics rarely check. But that's just the start of the danger. There are 4 more other critical markers that decides whether growth hormone keeps you safe or accelerates a tumor. But don't worry, lads. After this video, you'll know all of them and how to flip growth hormone from a gamble into a weapon for fat loss, recovery, and longevity. Now let's start with the biggest myth that people still believe. Growth hormone causes cancer out of nowhere. Now that idea comes from seeing IGF-1 levels rise and just assuming more growth equals more cancer. However, decades of research with even kids using growth hormone for years shows no higher rate of new cancers. And then here's the part that no one talks about. Not all cells want growth hormone equally, eh? What does that mean? Well, some, like cancer cells, have 10 times more receptors than muscle, which means they get first dibs when growth hormone enters the system. Growth hormone doesn't build disease. It just accelerates whatever biology is already there. So how do you know if your body's ready for it? The truth will show up in the blood work. And here are the main checkpoints. CRP, which is how on fire your body is. If it's high, the GH will pour more fuel on that fire, and it doesn't take much. Even a gum infection or bad sleep can raise CRP. Ferritin, which is your iron storage, heavily elevated, well, that's fueling a tumor. Too low and you're exhausted with no recovery. And ferritin also rises with inflammation. So increased iron often means more stress. IGF-1 itself, over the range numbers don't just mean more growth and fat loss. They mean more growth everywhere. PSA and cancer markers. Anyone over 40, these are non-negotiable. Because you can have a guy on TRT, growth hormone and Anavar. They feel amazing, they look shredded, but if CRP is constantly 5 and above and ferritin is over 350, that's not optimization. That's a storm gathering. And unfortunately, this is a blind spot that most clinics will fail to point out, because they'll circle the IGF-1 on a lab report and then sell it as progress. But IGF-1 alone is just smoke and mirrors, because the real safety check is bigger than one number. Glucose and hemoglobin A1C for creeping insulin resistance, ApoB for arteries, liver and kidney markers for foundation, and hormones like cortisol, prolactin and thyroid. Miss those and you're pumping growth signals into the wrong cells. And every shot of GH is going to be building problems, not progress. And most of the time it's not the GH failing, it's going to be the cycle design. Doing too much test, leaning on DECA or EQ, or just using dirty underground gear. It's smarter to keep it clean with legit Primo, Mastron or Anavar, then back that up with supplement support like curcumin, omega-3s, NAC, magnesium, citrus bergamot, and after looking at blood work, considering ancillaries like telmisartan, metformin, ezetimibe, enalapril, and even adding retatrutide or Trizep can lower inflammation long term. Get HSCRP under 1, and that's when growth hormone and peptides flip from wasted cash to something worth it. From all this, I've got a few questions. If growth hormone is risky, why are they giving it to kids? Because deficiency is more dangerous than the risk, and those kids, they are monitored relentlessly, and most guys aren't. Is CJC and ipamorelin the same as growth hormone? Nope, because after 40, natural GH falls fast, and secretagogues like CJC and ipamorelin only squeeze the last drops out of GH. They don't replace the production, because if the well is running dry, pumping the water harder is not going to fill the bucket. So do secretagogues avoid the cancer problem then? No, because they raise IGF-1 through the same pathway. So what determines whether it's safe or it's wasted? It's not the IGF-1 levels, it's those markers I mentioned earlier. The HSCRP, ferritin, ApoB, liver and kidneys. There are many more, but that's a start. And when those are clean, growth hormone can build. But when they're off, GH just does more damage. Okay, last question. No, you're done with questions now, mate. Just one more. That was a question. Damn it. Only joking. Go for it. What's the safe dose? There is no safe dose on a broken system. 2 IU in a high inflammation state is far more dangerous than 4 IU in a clean system. And here's a fact almost no one considers. Those pro bodybuilders blasting lots of GH for years at a time, they rarely die from cancer. They die from heart disease, because GH is often always stacked with other other drugs, and those others are quietly wrecking the cardiovascular system. And that's why I made this video here. It goes over the 3 biggest heartbreakers on gear, and from that you'll know how to shut them down before they shut you down. Anyway, a key question on GH is, does my biology deserve growth hormone yet? So to fully answer that question, I'll show you how to run GH the smart way. An effective window is 1.5 IU to 4 IU daily. Here the user will see recovery, fat loss and tissue repair without going into reckless territory. The timing matters just as much as the dose. You put GH in when insulin is high, you'll blunt its benefits and spike the risks. But if you inject it fast in the morning or align it with deep sleep, now growth hormone works like the youth signal that it was meant to be. But it must be noted, dosages beyond 4 to 6 IU can drive insulin resistance faster than they drive muscle gain. And that is why old veteran bodybuilders can end up lean but also diabetic. But we all know growth hormone is never run solo, is it? And with that, the moment you add other compounds into the protocol, the whole equation changes fast. Stack growth hormone with dirty compounds, heavy dosages of test, too much DECA, anadrol. You drive up estrogen, prolactin, and pile heavy stress on the liver. And by the way, dirty means crappy underground gear that's full of contaminants. Or if you put it in a bulking diet packed with junk food and sugar spikes, all of that is going to raise inflammation, and that's the exact soil cancer cells thrive in. So it is important to have the whole system dialed in. If the thyroid is flat, you can fix it with T4 or T3, and that's why Primo and Masteron stand out. They give you a sharper look, less up and down markers, and overall steadier health. Then based on goals, the user might intelligently add Reta, MOTS-C, L-carnitine, or BPC-157. When they're added in at the right time on cycle with blood work, users don't need to chase higher GH dosages. So doing all that in a tracked protocol, there is real synergy. And it's not just cosmetic, there's protection for your heart, your vessels, and your hormones. However, the synergy does collapse if the basics are ignored. So here's how to lock the systems down safely. Control sodium handling with daily electrolytes. Consider magnesium and potassium to stabilize blood pressure. Citrus bergamot, ezetimibe and fish oils for the lipids. Donate blood if hematocrit or ferritin climbs too high. Always check HSCRP before starting growth. Track fasting glucose and hemoglobin A1C, because GH and insulin resistance is the fast road to damage. And protect the gut with glutamine, probiotics, enzymes, because a leaky gut keeps inflammation high, and that turns every shot of growth hormone you do into cash wasted. What about using growth hormone for anti-aging, or is that just BS? The truth is, growth hormone can slow down aging, but only under the right conditions. Without deep sleep, low inflammation, balanced iron, and steady glucose, it's going to backfire. However, when those markers are in range, GH shifts from a cosmetic quick fix to a genuine longevity tool. Growth hormone will not turn you into Wolverine, and it is not a cancer switch either. It simply reflects how solid or broken your protocol is. In any case, if you think you might need some help and guidance on your mission to level up safely, you can reach out. Below this video, in the description box, there's a link. You hit that link and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Now, the next video is about the 3 biggest dangers that steroids bring to the heart. I'm going to show you the simple steps that you can use to protect it. This is Dr. James. I'm out.